All right, I'm here at Anarchadelphia 2019 with Gina Carr from thehealthyhappyhour.com. She just gave a speech in the main stage about veganism, which is a topic that this anarchist community seems to either be not too understanding about or very confrontational towards. Find they're like along the spectrum somewhere. Not everybody. There's a couple of, people who address it, like, for example, Gina and myself. Mark Passio is another one. People who, follow his work but then think veganism is like some stupid cult or something. You might want to check out that paradox. But Gina, can you tell us about your work and your website and what you do?
Well, I'm personally, I've had just tremendous, great experiences with choosing to eat just no animal products. I've lost over 50 pounds, and I know for the first time in my life that I'm not going to have a weight problem again, ever.
It's the greatest feeling ever, isn't it?
Oh my God, it is, because I struggled with my weight for all my entire adult life.
Wow.
And so it's been a tremendous benefit for me, in terms of the physical issues, and knowing now that I'm not as likely to get ever heart disease or cancer or many of the other illnesses that befall most people who eat a standard American diet.
Yeah.
So that's been big on the physical front. And then on the emotional and mental front, the fact that now I no longer carry on that layer of guilt that I always had, because I love animals. I was a big animal rescue person. I rescued a lot of cats and dogs and helped with those causes. And then, I'd go rescue a dog, but then I'd go to the restaurant afterwards and order some baby back ribs or something. It's like, I hear that pigs are smarter than dogs. Why am I eating a pig? But that's just what I thought I had to do to be healthy. So I'm so glad that I don't have to do that any longer.
Yeah, and it's such a shame that seems to be everyone's base layer, sort of perspective, who hasn't looked into this. Everybody realizes, so are you giving me bad advice? Or that guy I was arguing with, he's like, this is magical thinking to say that veganism is healthy. I'm like, dude, if all the people you're looking at have lost hundreds of pounds collectively and have improved their health from just doing this. We tried everything else. I was always an exerciser. I always worked out. I even always fasted for the most part. But it was until I made the switch and got rid of that stuff that really bogs you down and bogs down every system of the body, physical and metaphysical. That's when I started really feeling like my true human potential for the first time. It's really that deep. It's not just about people get too locked into one reason or the other. Dude, this is a holistic transformation that is necessary to create an anarchist society. Most people don't realize that, and Mark Passio talks about that. I mean, he understands karma as literally a scientific function, as in the aggregate amount of bad karma we create is the aggregate amount of bad karma we receive, and he understands that bad karma is transgression on animals.
Absolutely,
and humans too, but animals included.
Yeah, I look at, we're all animals, human animals and non-human animals.
Yeah.
I'm not a non-human animal, but non-human animals that most people are eating.
Yeah.
We in the anarchy community believe in the non-aggression principle.
Yeah.
So I don't initiate force against you, you don't initiate force against me. Well, what my presentation today was to encourage people to extend this definition of the NAP to not just humans, but to non-human animals.
Yeah.
Because when you think about it, they're really not that different than us. They also they care about their own lives. They feel pain, they feel joy, they feel happiness, they feel all these emotionally complex feelings that we don't think about typically. Many of them have high intelligence, including fish.
Yeah.
And so, I wouldn't eat a 3-year-old child, and if a pig is as smart as a 3-year-old child, why would I eat a pig? These things make no sense.
Yeah, it seems to be this fundamental underlying paradox that is so easy to explain axiomatically and just lay it out there. NAP stands for do not aggress against sentient beings. It's not the non-aggression principle for humans only. Mark lays it out clear, and it's just obvious. You don't aggress against sentient beings. And so we as humans, understanding that we are the stewards of this world, have to follow that. Now, I always try to make this distinction here, because a lot of people will say, well, what about cats and tigers and animals that aggress against other sentient beings? And I have two responses for that sort of intertwine. Mark's response is that the sort of natural law concepts only apply with beings for the capacity for higher reasoning. We're talking neofrontal cortex, ego type reasoning. Animals are divine, pure spiritual creatures. They don't have egos that can be brainwashed. That's why there's no TVs for cats and dogs. You know what I mean? Trust me, if the government could control cats and dogs and make them attack us or something like they do to humans, they would be doing it. But they can't, because they're pure spirit. So when you understand, and then the other thing is, the animals that do take the lives of the other animals actually do it by necessity and have been gifted by nature with the facilities to do so. They themselves kill, the lion, let's just use the tiger and the antelope. Sorry, Pat. The tiger attacks whatever it attacks. It has claws, it has fangs, it digests it raw, and it eats the bones. So, Mr. Caveman on the couch right there who's gonna comment on this, unless you are putting raw chicken, I'm talking about the raw chicken wing, that gross white thing, it smells, it's slimy, it's disgusting. If you don't put that in your mouth, bite it off, and eat the bone like my cat does, then you're a poser. You know, you're in denial. Maybe I've seen like some guy on a YouTube video at the very end of this video, he like gnaws at the end of the thing, but I've never seen anybody take a wing, look at it the way I look at a mango, do you know what I mean? And like just shovel it in their mouth. Dude, it's sensual what I do to a mango. You know what I mean? It's weird. Nobody's doing that to meat. You have to cook it, you have to do a million and one things to it to get it into that state. And if you can't eat it raw, chances are it doesn't belong in the system. And I believe that nature is sort of like this divine intelligence, you know what I mean? Designed as cohesively as a system. So if it wanted us to do that, we would have claws, and you can get into the anatomy, the digestive tracts, completely different digestive systems, different chemistries, all sorts of things. But like, yeah, so that would be my response to people who like to cherry pick and say, well, since animals do it, we can do it. Well, yeah, lions like lick their own butts. Do you literally like lift your leg up in the air and start licking your ass? And if you did, would you use animals as justification of it to say that we can all do it? They cherry pick, you know? So yeah, it's definitely about extending the NAP to all things. That's what I would say to the anarchist community, because they seem to understand that the humans are just fine. Like, I have wonderful conversations about anarchists all day long about how, yeah, vaccines are a violation of the NAP, all this other stuff, enforced vaccinations and all that stuff, and they can really like go to deep places. And then when you touch on the topic of food, it ceases to be just an intellectual conversation now, because you're evoking emotions that come from what I consider to be addiction.
Well, addiction, and as well, it's just all they've ever known. Mm-hmm. You know, it's just like statism is an unspoken ideology until you watch a Jeff Berwick video and you realize, hey, there's this thing called statism and we're part of it and we didn't even know it and I didn't agree to it. Well, there's this whole unspoken ideology called Carnism that is the belief that I should eat animal products, as opposed to veganism, which is the belief that I should not eat animal products. Well, let's give it a name, and Carnism is the name of that belief. And it's just so pervasive because it's what people have grown up with. It's what I grew up with until just a few years ago, my first Anarchadelphia, when I really started thinking about how the NAP should apply to non-human animals as well, that I was eating animals too. And so, you know, people grow up, it's their custom, taste, convenience, tradition, and so I eat what my parents ate and they eat what their parents ate, and there really has not been a lot of thought or choice. Nobody ever asked me, hey, do you want to eat dead animals? I would have said no, you know, and I'm sure at the point 3 or 4 years old or so when I started kind of understanding what was going on, I probably still was revolted by it, but I'm sure my parents just said, you have to eat meat, you have to eat that chicken, you have to eat animals or you're going to die.
How can you have any pudding if you don't eat your meat? It's like programmed into us. It's the same thing. And yeah, kids don't have the ability to be like they don't even know what that is. Like, I mean, my parents used to lie to me. They used to feed me fish and say it was chicken because they knew they liked chicken. They wanted to feed me another dead animal. It's not because they're evil. It's just because they literally are that brainwashed the same way their parents were by whatever controls the information on nutrition. And you can trace that back as far as you like along the timeline. You can get into the Rockefellers, changing nutrition. You can get into how that started. And then you can even get into, you know, because a lot of people will be like, well, my Eskimo friend that, you know, I've had all my life that I never told you about, he fishes, you know what I mean? So, like, what do you say to somebody like that? Again, I would say this is all part of humans being manipulated. A lot of people will agree that humans came from Africa or other tropical regions. That to me is an indicator that is our natural habitat.
Yes.
Humans are tropical creatures. That's what everybody, why do you love the beach so much? It's because it's your natural habitat. You ground your electricity on the sand, you cleanse yourself in the ocean, and you drink the water of the coconut that is given to you by nature, and it's all free and it's all designed for you to thrive.
Yeah, it was only when people started moving away from the equator that they, by necessity, had to start eating animals. Well, that's not our necessity today. We can have perfectly good, delicious, nutritious, healthy choices without harming any non-human animals. And so I say, well, if you have a choice, let's just say that you could be healthy either way. But I have a choice. Well, let's just be healthy the way that doesn't harm others. But I believe there's tremendous evidence out there that eating animal foods is so bad for the human body. I think in the near future, I don't know, 5, 10, 15 years, that people will really start understanding this. Just like it took a long time for people to understand the smoking was bad for people. There were 7,000 studies over 25 years before the first Surgeon General's report that says, hey, those cigarettes might not be good for you.
Wow.
So there's so many studies out there, and one of the best resources that I could recommend to your viewers would be the book called How Not to Die by Dr. Michael Greger. Absolutely phenomenal resource. Talks about the 15 leading causes of death in the United States, and so blood disease, liver cancer, liver diseases, heart disease, Parkinson's. There's so many that are directly contributed to by animal products. So it's a well-researched book. You know, it's like this thick, and this much of it is the references.
Yeah.
This much of it is what to eat instead of animal products, and this much of it is let's break down these 15 causes and tell you all the reasons that you should, that eating plants is better. That's for sure. You don't have to read this huge book. Just take our word for it that eating plants is much better.
Yeah, and then if you want to read a huge book because you're like the guy I just argue with and think it's magical thinking, please, we invite you to look at the research. You know what I mean? It's out there. And you're looking at 2 out of, I think, millions of case studies of people who have transformed their health. Like, all right, I'm 28 now, okay? I was a wrestler in high school. I was pretty good. I was captain. I did well. I was an MMA fighter for a little bit. I did all right. But at my prime in 18 to 22, I wasn't that good. And I'm coming back now. I've only been training for a year again, but the reason I even came back was because of veganism. I started getting injured. When I would get injured, I would realize I would heal at phenomenally faster rates than I ever did. One time I rolled my ankle playing basketball. This was like I couldn't walk. It was crazy. I rolled it. I was like, oh, this is so painful. I went home, went to bed, woke up the next day. I could do jumping jacks.
Oh my gosh.
And then 5 years before that, when I was younger and healthier because I haven't aged, when I rolled my ankle in wrestling school on the State of Anarchy diet, I was out for a month. My senior year, I was a captain. I had to miss a whole month of the season because of what I didn't realize was my diet.
Yeah, well, eating plants for me has definitely been like a fountain of youth. I look and feel 10 years younger.
Yes.
And talking about injured athletes, well, and people say, oh, you can't do this, it's not healthy. I have 2 words for you. Tom Brady.
Yeah, baby.
Okay, oh my God, 6-time Super Bowl champion, and he eats a plant-based diet. And it's all written about in his book, T12, and you can order purple carrot foods to be delivered to your house and eat just like Tom Brady eats.
Wow.
And these are, the prepared meal plans, very simple. And also, a couple more words, Venus and Serena Williams.
Yeah.
They are, Serena Williams is totally plant-based, and Venus, no, I have them mixed up. Venus is totally plant-based, and Serena is mostly plant-based. So, again, aging athletes at the top of their game, whooping up on 21-year-olds all the time.
Yeah.
So,
Punks.
these, and Tom Brady specifically says, I know that the part of the reason that I can heal so fast is because of his diet.
Yep. Because you remember what it was like before that. You remember how, oh man, this lingering injury, it's always hot, it's always inflamed, it's red, it's warm, it's swollen, and all of that. And I mean, even like my skin, I have a picture on my Instagram, and on Apex, by the way, which is Instagram for blockchain, get on that shit. That is a picture of me 10 years ago, or I think it was more like 8 years ago. I think I was in college, and a picture of me now. And like, it's insane. Like, there's so much differences other than the weight that I lost. Like, you could tell that like, there's actually a layer between my muscle tissue and my skin tissue that is inflamed and bloated. And what that actually is lymphatic constipation, which is your toxic, basically the lymphatic system is what filters out what don't belong in your bloodstream. And along the filtering process, if you eat a lot of this garbage, you essentially clog your pipes up. And that reflects in people. And if you look now, I literally I'm basically like a muscular skeleton with like skin, like shrink wrap to it, because like all of that inflammation is just gone. And when all the inflammation in all of your body is gone, then literally your body can heal at rates that you have never before experienced. And you can only tell if you're on the other side of the rainbow. That's the thing.
Wow, you're talking about looking at you and being able to tell that, you don't have all this clogged up stuff. I mean, I look at people now, and I'm not being judgmental.
That's not what it is,
but
yeah.
I'm just making an assessment. I can see meat eater, not meat eater.
Yeah, me too, I can tell.
Yeah, and you can
ask.
see it in their face.
Eyes too. Eyes is the biggest
Eyes is a
giveaway.
big thing too. I've just been learning about that, but I mainly just look at the face. And there are certainly some meat eaters that are lean in the face, but they have no idea what's going on with all the animal products in their digestive system and to their internal organs. So a great book, a resource for this is called Proteinaholic, and it's basically why we're addicted to meat and how to stop, because it's killing us. And so it's a doctor who previously recommended a lot of meat. He's a bariatric surgeon who helped people with tummy tucks. And so he'd help them lose all this weight, and then a few years later they would eat the diet that he was recommending, and they were coming back, and they needed another tummy tuck. Well, he said this doesn't work, so he made it his mission to find out what is the best diet for people. He evaluated the blue zones where people regularly live to be in triple digits, and they eat 95% plant-based. So there's so much research out there, and people in Uganda never get heart disease. Why? Well, they only eat plants. So it's not that the healthcare or doctors are so much better in Uganda, it's what they eat.
Yeah, we know that the health system is not as comparable to the U.S. health system, which, by the way, can we touch on, because a lot of people, oh my God, on the internet, I mean, you know more than most, a lot of people are like, how can you say that you're not a doctor, all this crap, why don't you go to medical school and all that? Well, can you tell our viewers at home exactly how much time a doctor actually spends studying nutrition?
Well, I can tell you what my friend who graduated from the Harvard Medical School said. He said in the entire time he was in medical school, he had one class, and that one class was just, it was called nutrition, but it was to teach you how to hook up a feeding tube.
Oh.
Yes, that's what it's called, nutrition in Harvard, and that was a fairly recent graduate.
Wow.
So there's very, very little nutrition taught in medical schools because the medical schools are mostly financed by Big Pharma, and Big Pharma wants to treat. They don't have, there's no incentive for the doctors or for Big Pharma to prevent.
To heal.
Which is to eat the foods in the beginning that you don't have these problems. I mean, their methodology and their business model is built on the fact that you're going to get on these statins, you're going to get on this blood pressure medicine, you're going to get on these cholesterol medicines, and you're going to stay on the rest of your lives because you got to come back into the doctor to get checked up every now and then. You got to go to the lab to get the blood work. You got to buy the medicines. It's an absolute crazy system, but it's the pharmacists, the Big Pharma and the Big Farm that are putting money into the politicians' pockets so that they get elected and reelected and don't tell you the truth that may be out there that they don't want to pay attention to. It's the Big Farm and Big Pharma that are spending all the money with the media because, you know, you got to buy the hamburgers and buy the Dannon yogurt, and you got to take all these pills so that they can help you with the conditions you're going to get from buying the meat and the hamburgers.
Exactly.
So it's this crazy system that all these institutions are built around Carnism, in teaching you that it's okay to eat animals. This is the natural way to be.
Yep, exactly. And I'll touch on another thing that Big Pharma and Big Pharma's control is the education system. They don't want that getting into the minds of any of the youth or any of the people studying this stuff. They got it all locked down. And it's a problem, reaction, solution method. Just like for any of you anarchist conspiracy theories who I know we're on the same page about false flag events, you create the problem, which is you feed the people garbage. You create a reaction, which is their lack of health, and then you provide them the solution, which is drugs that don't cure them, just keep them feeling a little bit better so they can just gradually get sicker and sicker as they continually to pay you, and then as the sickness increases, the price goes up, so you start as like this little, you know, like side hustle for them, and then as you get sicker and fatter, more and more dependent on their machinery, which is what I believe pharmaceuticals are. It's just some inorganic, like, chemical program, you know, like bunk data that they throw in you to just hack your system, and it doesn't fix anything and it doesn't cure anything. And how you know it doesn't cure anything is because doctors legally, and anyone actually, are not allowed to use the actual fucking word cure. You can't say that. You can't say that. You actually go to jail. There was a guy who did his own research with apricot seeds, developed B17 like extracts from them, and would actually, I don't want to go to jail, but guess what, I'm going to say it anyway, cured people of all diseases, including cancer. And the reason why they don't want us saying that word and bringing this out there is because that would fuck up their business model, that would fuck up their control system, and it would make us so healthy and so non-dependent that we would literally just like shine them out of existence with like the vegan glow. Do you know what I mean? And to describe what that feels like, imagine like everything inside of you was just like shining like the sun at like 3:30. Do you know what I mean? Like not too hot, you're not overwhelmed by it, but you're completely illuminated, it's peaceful, it's beautiful, and you're just beaming. That's what it's like to have nothing but clean food in your system and karmaless food in your system. And I want to really sell you people on that. A lot of people, like, they're so addicted that it's like the sacrifice. Oh my God, my whole life is gonna fall apart if I try this. No, it's gonna be tough. You gotta purge parasites that are telling you to eat by secreting chemicals, because that's what they're feeding on. You're feeding your buddies that are staying there not paying any rent and busting up the house, you know what I mean? But if you get that out and you go through the detoxification process, which is a process, but you know what? Anything in life that is worth having requires some degree of effort. If you get to that other side, then you can chill. You really can just chill. Your body functions so smoothly. You can eat nothing but clean foods. They're all delicious. I mean, Furry Vegan isn't just popping off more because it's healthy for you. It's banging. Everybody wants the food there because it honestly is the best food in the hotel. Not even just vegan bias. All of my non-vegan friends are going there. It's best. It's the best. And thanks to Anarchadelphia for making that happen. So yeah, I mean, we just want to try and sell everybody on like this health and this freedom that's on the other side of this, not just for us, but for, again, we can't forget about the animal holocaust. This is what it is. It's a holocaust. It's the longest running holocaust ever. All the other holocausts you've been talked about are over. This one's still happening and has been happening for longer than all the other ones. And if we could end that, Mark Passio, who believes that karma and natural law is the key to creating an anarchist society, understands that that might be the final piece. Think about how much negative energy is being created every single day in there. Farmers and those big companies put the fucking slaughterhouses on ley lines, meridians of the earth, because they want that energy to flow into the universal spirit, to poison the well. And that's what we gotta do. We literally have to metaphysically and physically clean everything out and take all of this crap out of the well and make it pure distilled water, pure distilled life energy again. That's the only way, believe it or not, we're gonna get to real, true anarchy. That's my pick.
You know, even Tolstoy said, as long as there are slaughterhouses, there will be battlefields. Wow. And I think about that. I have an engineering undergraduate degree, and I think about, I remember that, okay? So I think about the transference of energy. Yeah. So yeah, if you've got this animal that was stressed out its entire short life, and mutilated and tortured, and then you slaughter that animal in a very violent methodology, and you put that animal into your body. Go back a step. The farmers are trying to make that animal as big and fat as quickly as possible. Ugh. And I would put that chicken in my body, and I would put that beef in my body, and it never occurred to me that I'm putting stuff into my body that's was very stressed out and was designed to make me as big and fat as possible. So yeah, it's just been an amazing journey. Again, the engineering background, this is evidence-based eating.
Thank you, yeah. This isn't
it's not just vegan,
it's not magical stuff. Thinking as whoever the dude I was talking to now. No, I'm literally laying it out for you scientifically, and if it's not enough, if I can't do a good enough job, we can point you to the research.
Go to that book, HowNotToDie.com and NutritionFacts.org. Those are not mine. I have no financial interest in it, but tremendous research. And I go there because Dr. Greger has a whole team of about over 200 people. Some are paid, some are volunteer. And every year there's about 100,000 new articles that are coming out in published research about nutrition. Well, which ones are valid, which ones are not? There's so much crap out there. Yeah. So his team goes through and says, well, this doesn't make any sense. This conflicts with something else that we already know. And they really vet those studies. So that is my go-to resource.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's amazing. Well, hey, guess what? We're having a conference in Philadelphia called Anarchadelphia at the end of the year at the Harvest Moon in September, on September 14th. We're actually, hopefully Honest Tom sees this video. I don't know if I might have told him in person by this point, but I'm hoping to get him and his awesome business. He's a full plant-based taco shop that was Carnist, switched over to being plant-based, and is now even moving further and further into they bring large, huge shipments of wicked tropical fruits like soursop and all those crazy weird fruits that you never heard of, but they're actually delicious and they cure every disease. Wow, why haven't I heard of this in my whole life? It's this thing that nature makes for free. It's like health grows on trees or something. It's crazy. So yeah, it's going to be a highly vegan event. Everything that we serve will be vegan, and we want a vegan presence there. Myself will be there, but I would love to have you as well if we can pull you over.
I'd love it.
Awesome. Well, that's great. Well, Gina, thank you so much for sitting down and doing everything you do to try and wake people up to this, especially in this community.
Well, thank you so much. And yes, if you guys want to find out more about what I'm doing, go to thehealthyhappyhour.com. and look GinaCarr.com, and I'd be happy to help you. Join my community. HealthyHappyHour.com is a Facebook group, and we do a little video show, and so we try to help people find out more information. We also have a Vegans of Anarchapulco, so you don't have to be an Anarchapulco attendee to attend, but or to be part of that group. But certainly people who are anarchist mindset. So a lot of people in your community.
Yeah. So check us all out, and let's do this. Let's level up and let's unlock our hidden potential, man. The superpowers are right on the other side of the diet. Thanks again, Gina.
Thank you.
Join the State of Anarchy this September's Harvest Moon in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, where this gathering of like minds aims to foster unbreakable relationships between the movement's leading forces, whom teach self-love and ownership, blockchain techno-economics, as well as exposing the Earth's sacred hidden knowledge. So will we see you there?
If our content resonates with you, then definitely subscribe to the channel and hit the bell button. Otherwise, you will not get notified when we drop dope videos like this. Share it, like it, or even dislike it, but let us know why in the comments below. Hook us up with a crypto tip. Check us out on Patreon. Anarchadelphia is going to be sick. Tickets are already selling. First come, first serve, because we can only sell so many unless we get a bigger venue. You can go to anarchadelphia.com to get your tickets at early bird rate right now. Or you can just go to the State of Anarchy and go through the shop. We got some dope swag. We're also going to be at Anarcho Vegas, July 19th through 21st. And then we'll be at the Red Pill Expo, June 7th through 9th in Hartford, Connecticut.